Hello. If you're watching this video, the chances are you're brand new to World of Tanks. So first of all, welcome. This game has a lot of depth to it, and it's easy to be overwhelmed when you're first starting out. In this video, I'll take you through from the very beginning, from when you first boot up the game, then go through some of the basics so that you can get an understanding, and then also help you to set up your tanks to prepare you for your first battle. Now, the first thing that you need to know is that there are 3 different servers. WorldofTanks.com will give you the NA server, WorldofTanks.eu will give you the EU server, and WorldofTanks.asia will give you the Asia server. All 3 of these are completely separate, and you cannot cross-play between the 3. So just make sure you are on the right website before you make your account. World of Tanks is also on Steam as well, so you could do it through there. That's also completely viable. Once you've done all of that, you download the Wargaming launcher, you sign into the top left, and then you click play once the game is fully downloaded. When you first load up the game, you'll be in the tutorial. This is a very, very basic tutorial, and it will get you to grips with some of the driving aspects and obviously the aiming and the shooting, as well as the penetration mechanic, which is quite important to take note of. And I also wouldn't worry about changing the settings in this tutorial because most of them are grayed out, other than if you need to change the graphics. Once you've done the first tutorial mission, you'll be then taken to the second one. I will say this is one of the only hard parts of the tutorial. All that you have to do is just make sure that you flank it and you'll be absolutely fine. When it goes green, you then know that you have a pen. It also teaches you about where the weak spots are on the vehicle, such as the lower plate and also the cupola over here, and they will be completely red if you can't pen. And when you come to the Tiger 2 battle, just make sure you either pen it in the side of the turret or you go around behind it and hit the sides as we just did with the other one, because otherwise you'll bounce like that. Once you've done that, you get the epilogue, you click continue, and then you'll have a nice little operation badge that you've just completed. And if you are making an account in this December period, you'll get access to 2 free tech tree branches, where you can go all the way up to tier 10 and get the entire line completely for free. Now, I will say, do not go and play tier 10 straight away, because the chances are you're going to get slapped. I would just stay around about tier 5 or tier 6 and just try and learn the game and the mechanics. And if you are wondering which tech tree to choose from, I do have a video where I've gone through each one and kind of explained if the grind is good, bad, and maybe if you should skip it or not. Now, once you're sitting in your garage, you'll see 3 different tanks. You have the Panzer IIIe, the M3 Stuart, and the Valentine. Now, each one of these vehicles corresponds to a different nation. You have the Panzer IIIe, which is the German tech tree, the M3 Stuart, which is the American tech tree, and then the Valentine, which is the British. If you click tech tree on the left-hand side, you will be able to see the full tech trees there in the game. As you'll see, there are quite a few. I do have a 3-hour video where I go through every single tech tree in the game, but to cut it down for a new player, probably the USSR tech tree is the best one to start in. There are 5 different classes in the game, and understanding what they do will help you choose which one to go down. You have light tanks, medium tanks, heavy tanks, tank destroyers, and SPGs. SPGs play a very different game entirely from the rest of the classes and is a top-down view of the game. And a quick YouTube search of SPG gameplay will quickly tell you whether or not that is for you. Light tanks are your reconnaissance vehicles where they don't have a lot of armor, but they do have good camo and view range. Medium tanks are more of your all-purpose vehicles where they can go around the map and be a little bit annoying and maybe get on a flank. Heavy tanks are the brawlers where they'll go into the front line and try and just slug it out. And tank destroyers can kind of go into 2 different categories, sniping and assault. Assault will go more with the heavy tank playstyle, and the snipers will obviously sit at the back of the map shooting what the light tanks spot or even helping out the mediums. If you are a brand new player in this game, I'd recommend heavy tanks. Either go for the Maus or the E100 line in the German tech tree, or the IS-7/277 in the USSR tech tree. These are the most new player friendly tech trees that you can probably go down. Now that we've spoken about the tech tree and which one you might want to go down, we're now going to be speaking about the tank setup. This will be the same in all 3 of these. It will just depend on which nation you're choosing. Straight away down the middle, you'll see that on the left hand side you have the crew, you have the equipment in the middle, you have your ammo, and then you have consumables. As you go up through the tiers, the amount of consumables and equipment that you can use will also increase. The maximum is 3 consumables and 3 equipment pieces. You can also use a directive, but most of the time you should probably not use that. We're going to start out with the crew. Just click any one of these crew members to then be taken to the crew page. You'll see that there is a commander, gunner, driver, radio operator, and loader. Depending on which tank you pick, there might be more or less crew members. They may also have roles combined in with each other. As you'll see right here, there is a massive plus icon. You can click that and then choose the perk that you want to start training. Choosing a perk at this stage is very, very simple. You just pick repairs on absolutely everybody. Any perk that is in this top line here, Brothers in Arms, repairs, and concealment, requires every single crew member to gain the maximum efficiency of what it says it's going to do. For example, the repair skill says that it will repair the vehicle 80% faster, but that is only effective 80% if every single one of the crew members has it trained at 100%. This video is not aimed to overload you with information. At this stage, just pick repairs on everybody. If you want a more in-depth guide on different things, I've made a series of videos called The Basics, where where I go through crew members, equipment, stuff like this in more detail. Links to those will be in the description. Moving on to the middle section, this is your equipment. At this stage, I don't think it's really worth using anything. This is because it's going to cost you 50,000 or 40,000 credits, and if you're a brand new account, you're not necessarily going to have loads and loads of credits. Now, obviously, if you are a brand new account when you're watching this video, you will have the well-deserved reward and also the pick 2 tech trees to choose from straight away, which is why I have 6 million credits, and this is a brand new account. This is only lasting throughout December and a little bit into January, so if you did want to create an account, now is the time. But if you're watching this at any other time period, the chances are you probably don't have loads and loads of credits. And I wouldn't really start using equipment until, say, round about tier 5 or tier 6. The thing is, once you do equip a piece of equipment on a vehicle, it actually costs 10 gold to go and demount, unless you get some demount kits, which you can get through events and daily missions. And it costs 10 gold no matter which class of equipment you are demounting. As you see, it says improved ventilation class 3. There's class 1, 2, and 3. As you go down in the number, the amount of credits required to purchase something increases. And it usually costs around about 600,000 credits each piece of equipment if you're getting class 1, which if you wanted to do that 3 times on a tank, it's going to be quite a bit of money. So I would save equipment until you get to around about tier 5 or tier 6 and then go ahead and start putting equipment on your vehicles. The reason being is that you'll fly through the low tiers really fast. To get from tier 3 to tier 5 really doesn't take that long, but then once you get to tier 6 and go onwards, it can take quite a while because the amount of XP required will increase. Moving on to the ammunition choice, the standard rounds are what you're going to be firing most of the time. These are your all-purpose rounds and they're pretty cheap to use usually. You then have the premium rounds which have more penetration but are a lot more expensive to use. Yes, one round costs 2,000 credits in comparison to only 30 credits for the standard round. So you should definitely take some premium rounds because you will need them against more heavily armored vehicles. However, only fire them when you need it, especially if you're brand new to the game and you really don't have loads and loads of credits to burn through. The HE rounds can mostly be forgotten about as a new player. They have the highest damage, but they have the lowest penetration, meaning that most of the time you don't do that damage. The high explosive is only really used if you want to destroy some obstacles or shoot very, very lightly armored tanks. But this comes with experience in the game, so that's why I said that mostly they can be forgotten about for a new player. This should be the least plentiful ammo choice. The thing that I say to most new players is that you do need some premium rounds, but you really don't need that many. 30 in this instance would probably be more than enough. Yes, the premium round is expensive, but if you are penetrating the premium round, it doesn't actually get that expensive because some of the cost is negated. So a setup like this should be pretty good. Now, when it comes to consumables, the simple way of putting this is that it doesn't matter which order you use them in, just whichever one you're comfortable with. But if you're down at this tier where you can't pick a third consumable slot, I would pick repair kit and med kit. Once you get into the higher tiers where you can pick 3 consumable slots, I would pick a manual fire extinguisher along with it. So my setup would look something like this. You don't need to go and pick an automatic one, especially at 20,000 credits. You can mostly ignore the rest of these consumables until such time as you get more experience or there is a consumable sale. If you are fast enough to react once you do get set on fire, the manual one is nearly as good as the automatic. You will take more damage than an automatic, but as I said, if you're fast, it can be negated quite a bit. As a new player, you can completely ignore food entirely because it's more of a detriment to your progress than anything else. Food is going to cost you 20,000 per game, no matter whether you have a good game or a bad game. And as a new player, you're not going to do as much damage as other people would, where it can kind of negate some of the loss of the credits from food. So new player, ignore everything else, just use a manual fire extinguisher. The last thing to do is to put a camo on your vehicle. You do this by clicking the paintbrush icon just below the tank. Once you do that, your garage will then change and you'll have a load of different camos to choose from down here. If you didn't create your account during the 2.0 period, then you're probably not going to have this camo here. However, you will be able to choose this, which is a rental camo for, I believe, 100 battles. So 100 battles and it's 75,000 credits. Painting your tank is actually pretty important because it does affect the camo rating. Now, I will link a full guide from World of Tanks that have gone into full detail about how camouflage and view range works. But just know that view range devalues the camouflage that you have. But as a new player, I really wouldn't worry about this too much. Once you get up through the tiers, then yes, take a look at it. Because especially if you're playing light tanks, you need to understand it. Anyway, now that you've painted your tank, you've got your crew set up, and you've got all your ammo and consumables ready, you can nearly go ahead and click battle. But one thing that you need to do beforehand is go through a few settings which help you out massively in-game. First of all, disable the dynamic camera. This makes sure that you don't have recoil after your shot. Preferred sniper zoom level, I like to leave at 2x. What this does is that once you are zoomed in, and say you're zoomed in all the way to 16 times, when you then go out of the sniper mode and then back into it, you're not then again in 16 16 times zoom. It's actually super useful because sometimes you quickly switch target and someone's right in front of you. You don't want to be going into sniper mode and you're at 16 times zoom. Tips on battle loading screen, make sure it's minimap. This is also very important for if you have a slow computer, because once you're loading in, you'll get to see the minimap and see which base you've spawned at. Make sure under minimap, every single one of these is ticked. Under the graphics tab, go into details. Make sure motion blur is fully disabled. Grass in sniper mode is unticked, and extra effects in sniper mode is completely off. Under reticle, go to armor flashlight and make sure enable at the start of the game is ticked. This basically makes World of Tanks almost easy mode, because this will paint the tank for where you can and cannot pen. Green is yes, orange/yellow is maybe, and red is no. Make sure your markers is on HP left/total or just HP left. And that goes for both friendly and enemy. Under battle notifications, you can copy the fire direction indicators here. This will make sure that you can see the name of the tank and also the amount of damage that you would have been blocking or they've done. And under battle report and missions, make sure display team HP bar is ticked and display team HP number is also ticked. I would also tick the display team HP difference as well. Once you've done all of that, click apply, okay, and then you should be ready for your first battle. Be warned though, this will be a warm-up battle, so you could do a lot of damage in it. As you'll see at the top left here, it says random battle warm-up. If you click configure, you'll see that you have 3 battles where you'll be against bots. After these games, you'll then be chucked into a random queue with random people. So hopefully this helps you out with starting World of Tanks. This is not meant to be an information overload video because that's very easy to do in this game. This is just meant to be a quick way of getting you in, starting a few games with a good baseline to go off. And if you do want to go into more details to learn about different subjects, then the description will have some links. The last thing I want to say is that do not be disheartened if you absolutely suck at this game. It took me maybe 8,000 games to really realize how to play a little bit better. But that was back when there was barely any information about the game. With the amount of guides and information out there now, it's a lot easier to get into this game and understand the mechanics. So don't worry about it, enjoy the game, and best of luck. See you in the next one.